Hello, my Stampin' friends. Welcome to another episode of Stampin' with Candice. I am super excited to be here tonight to share a, well, this is kind of a fun fold, but it's a fun fold project rather than a fun fold card. You could do something similar on a card. Maybe I'll make a card and share it with you as well. But I wanted to do something a little bit different with this paper. If you haven't checked it out yet, this is the Spooktacular, I think that's what it's called, designer series paper that you can get. And it comes in 4 fun little faces. And the back is these different colored stripes. And the minute I saw this, I knew I wanted it. And this is actually the first time I've had to play around with it a little bit. So I really hope you enjoy this project. I think it turned out so, so, so cute. And I am going to wait for the reveal until after I show you what we're doing. So hopefully you will enjoy this. And we're going to switch cameras here and get started. So in combination with the paper, we are also going to be using the Web of Fun dies and the stamp set. And then we will be using the, what are these called? The bats, ghosts, and dots. This isn't necessarily something you have to have. It was just a fun accent that I added to it. But the other thing we'll be using is the Everyday Arches dies. And then we'll be using some Terran tape. What is this one? I know it has a name here somewhere. The iridescent ribbon, this is black. It's really, really pretty if you look really close. It's like very, very sparkly. And I'm going to show you a really fun trick we're going to be doing with that. We're also going to be using some black baker's twine. You can use any of the colors. I chose black. You could be. Sorry, not sure why my phone is suddenly turning off. It's been working fine for weeks now, and suddenly it turned off. All right, so hopefully we're back and everything's working. So we're also going to be using the 8-inch circle punch. This comes in like a set of 3 different punches. So those are the basic things that we're going to be using. The colors in this are Granny Apple Green, Pumpkin Pie, very vanilla, and basic black. And then there's a little bit of gray, but I went with the 4 basic colors for my project. And I did make one in each color. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, I did add one other color. I am using the Gorgeous Grape, and I will be sharing how to do that. There is one other thing you're going to be wanting, and that is just a piece of tissue paper. I've just cut a bunch of pieces up. I don't know why we're turning off. Sorry, some setting I must have messed with and it keeps turning off. I'll try and keep an eye on it so it hopefully will stay on for me. So I have an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and obviously this is going the wrong way. So I have cut it into, just so you can see really quick, I cut it in half. So it's cut in the 5.5 by 8.5, and then this one's cut down to 7.5. So this is just extra you can use for die cutting or extras if you want. And then this one is cut into 4 pieces. So it's cut in half at the 4 1/4, and then 2 3/4. So we have 4 of these. So we're going to set this one aside and we're going to start with these. So I told you we're using the everyday arches. And one of the things I did to a minute, I'm going to try changing the setting on my phone here really quick and see if I can get it to stop turning off. Give me 1 second. I'm going to pause here. I don't know what setting I suddenly changed because I didn't change anything, but somehow I've changed something. All right, I apologize. Hopefully it will stay on for me. I'm gonna keep putting my hand up there. Maybe it will stay on. Uh, I thought I had it fixed. It's been working fine for the last few lives, and I don't know why it's suddenly doing this again. So the everyday arches, I used the second largest one and then the fourth. So it gives a little bit of space. And just a little trick, I lined them up on my paper and on my one of my cutting boards, and I've what's the word I'm looking for? I have taped them down to keep that space even, and then I can just slide this in here. So we're going to do this 4 times, and for the additional part in the middle here, we're going to lay one of these and we're going to lay our boo. And I meant to cut these out beforehand and I didn't, so give me stay on. So give me a second while I hurry and cut these out. And maybe I can get my phone to stay on. I don't know why it keeps turning off on me. I'm going to try plugging it in and see if it's because it's getting low battery and that's why it wants to turn off. I don't know for sure. Okay, so when it cuts out, you're going to end up with this and then your boo. And when it comes out, you'll have this little piece here. And then this is just scraps that you could use for something else, or if you want to cut other things out, whatever. Then we're going to switch it on the next one, and we're going to do boo, and we're going to do the little tag here. And like I said, if you cover this one from here up, so don't put it over your tape, then it's not going to cut into this. It's not going to cut into this part down here. And then that's going to keep it so that you can keep that lined up for the, what's the word I'm looking for? So that you don't have to keep redoing the tape, basically. And I just realized I forgot to pop out that boo. That's okay, it's still going to work. That one's going to be a little bit stuck. There we go. But I only need one, so.
And you really you can do that on just one of them. I was making a bunch and I wanted a bunch of different backgrounds, so I have all the different colors. So I just kind of kept cutting it out. But you don't have to cut out the other two parts all 4 times. What you do need is my phone keeps going in screensaver mode. I apologize. It's going to get very annoying, and I don't know how to fix it. All right. And we're going to do this one more time. So we have 4 of these is what we're needing. All right. So when we're done, we're going to have 4 of this piece. And then we're going to have our little extra pieces here. And do not time out on me. Okay, sorry, give me one more second. I'm going to try one more thing and see if I can change my timeout screen. If anybody has suggestions, please. And hopefully it won't keep making it time out on me. So there we go. Hopefully that will keep it on. I apologize. Give me a shout out if it turns off on me again. Okay, so in case you missed it, we had the one that we cut. This one is 7.5 by 5.5. And then the other one we cut into 4 squares. And out of those 4 squares, I've cut these little pieces here. So I've cut 4 of these, and then I've cut one of these, and 1 boo. Now, like I said, when I did it, I went ahead and just kept cutting extras. So I have them in a bunch of different colors here for my project. But what we need is 4 of these. And then you'll want 2 different colors of the background here, or the little tags, and then 1 of this shape here. And then you'll need 2 different ones of the boos. So that's why I kept cutting them out of my other colors. If you're not going to be doing a bunch, you'll just need some extra scraps that you can cut this out of here. So once we have these pieces, we're going to set everything aside for a second, and we're going to do this one here. And this one we are going to score. I'm going to look at my measurements so I don't tell you wrong. We are going to score it at 1/2 inch here. Make sure I'm using my scoring blade, which is my lighter one. I love someone said the light one is a light touch, the dark one is a darker touch. So scoring versus cutting. And then we're going to score the other side at 1/2 inch as well. And then we're going to turn it this way, and we're going to score it at 6. I love that the thing when you put it against it, that's 6 inches. And then we're going to pop it up here, and we're going to score it at 1/2 inch. And then we're going to grab this little guy, and we're going to flip it over here so it's scoring the right way, and we're going to score it at 1 inch. Now make sure you go a really light touch because this is designer series paper. It is a little bit thinner, and we can cut through it with a scoring blade if we press too hard, but we still want to make sure that we have a good score on it. Then we can move this out of the way. So this one is just scored at the 1 inch here. And I'll tell you, when I came up with this, I actually scored it wrong the first time in what I was trying to make, and I loved how it ended up, and so it is a little bit different. You'll notice that this one is a 6-inch piece, and we scored it at 1 and 1. This is a 5-inch piece, and we scored it at a 1/2 inch and a 1/2 inch, which means this middle part is actually bigger than this one here. So if you look at it, it's going to be bigger on the back than it is on the front. And when I got it done, I really liked it that way. And I'll show you why when we're done. So now I've only used my bone folder on this one, not this one yet. What we're going to do is, I forgot to tell you, you can eyeball this, or you can grab a ruler and mark it. I'm just going to grab a ruler and mark it. And you'll notice I'm marking it on the 1/2 inch line that I did, not at the very end. And I'm going to mark it a 1/4 inch in on each side here. If I remember right. Yeah, it's a 1/4 inch that we're going to mark it. And then we're going to take our scissors and we're just going to cut down all the way to that mark. And we're going to cut again all the way to this one. And then we're going to cut this one off. So when you get it done, see if you can see this a little bit, you're going to be cutting here. We still have this one. I'll hold that up so you can see it a little bit better. So we still have this 1/2 inch here, and then we've cut it so it just angles down just a little bit here. And we're going to do that on both sides to create our little box is what we're creating here. Like I said, you can eyeball it. I eyeballed it the first time, and then I measured it just for those who like to see a measurement, because I know we have both types of people. And okay, so now we're going to put our tear and tape on here, and we're just going to go from top to bottom on each side where it's folded in. So it'd be folded in, and we're going to go top to bottom. And we're going to do it on that 1/2 inch piece that's down at the bottom as well. Maybe. And I like to just, if I can get the sticky off my finger, use my bone folder and kind of burnish that down and make sure that it's nice and stuck. Just makes it a little bit easier. And then we're going to set this aside for just a minute, and we're going to hurry and do these. Now, I've cut 4, and if you look at them really closely, they're just a tiny bit different. You can see that it's not the nice side. And so I'm just flipping them so I have the 2 front sides together. Hello, Margaret from North Carolina. Welcome. So I'm doing that on both of them. So I've got the back side and the front side here. And then I'm going to grab my multi-purpose glue, and I am going to maybe just put a thing of glue around this. And then I'm going to glue these 2 together. Now, you could do it with just 1. Nothing says you have to do 2. Part of the reason I did 2 is so that I have that nice clean look on both sides. And also, to me, I felt like it was a little bit stronger. So again, you could cut just 1, but with the way the paper worked, it worked for me, and I just did too. And I'm going to use my bone folder to press those nice and tight together. And they might be slightly off from each other depending on how well you lined up your dies, but they work even if they're slightly off from each other. And it's okay if the edges down here do not line up perfectly. If you want to cut them so they line up, you can, but you're not going to see them. So we're going to grab our mini glue dots, if I can remember where they're at here. And we're going to add on a mini glue dot to the end of each of these. And I just kind of lined it up roughly at 2 1/4. And then I want to make sure it's kind of centered in my little in between on here. And we're putting that on the inside here. And then what I found is the easiest is to line this one up right here. And then I can do the same thing with this one. And it makes it pretty easy to line them up so that they will be lined up when we put our box together. Now, pretty simple. We're going to take off this. Sorry, I'm going to wave my hand up there, make sure that that's not going to turn off on me. I'm going to hurry and take off my tear and tape. And then we're just going to carefully attach it. Now you could try attaching the bottom first. I will be honest, I attached the sides first on all the ones I did, and then I tucked the bottom up because it was small. So I wanted to line up the longer sides because I thought they were a little bit harder to line up. But I haven't tried it the other way, so I don't know. It might be just as easy or easier the other way. But I'm going to just line those two up and kind of press from both sides so it gets a nice tight press on each of those. So there we go. Now we're going to tuck this one in. So the easiest way I found is try to kind of push it all the way down and then pop it, let it pop kind of up so that you can line up the bottom here. And then I just kind of stuck my hand in so that I had something to press it against and just lined it up on the edge there. So normally when I'm lining something up like this, I would fold it to one side and fold it to one side. But remember how I said this back side is bigger than the front side? You can see that it's got that angle, and that's why we cut the angle here, because it is not because it's not going to go flat. You can't squish it to one side or another. It is going to stay nice and solid on you if you were to put something in here. And it is super cute, just like this, but we are going to add a little bit more to this to finish it off. And first off, we have to have a cute little tag on it, which was the purpose between using these here. And like I said, you can do all kinds of combinations, whatever you want to do. I'm going to do this, and I'm just going to add a little bit of glue here. If you wanted to, you could use on the backs of even these, instead of gluing it, you could use an adhesive sheet. I haven't tried that. But it's definitely something you could try if you wanted to. And let's see, just gonna shadow that. I just really like the blue shadowed. And then we're gonna add some glue to here. And before I add my boo onto it, I am going to just take and punch a little circle in the top there. And then I can add the little boo to this. You could punch out the spider if you wanted. You could stamp, there's the little saying that says spooky something or other. You could stamp that if you wanted, whatever, however you want to decorate it up. And then I did use a Stampin' Dimensional on here, and it might be, yep, it's a little longer than I want. So I am going to cut this down. And the Very Vanilla, I did use the thick Very Vanilla for the one that I did the back on rather than the thin, just so that it has a little bit more depth. Okay, now I'm going to show you how I did the tag or the ribbon part. So I have the iridescent ribbon, and we're just going to cut 4 inches of this one. And this one, we're going to cut roughly about 12 inches. And if you kind of pull at the end, and it should be the end that is the cut away. So it'd be this end here. And you can see it starts to fray just a little bit. You can grab a hold of that and just pull that string. And it will kind of, it goes a little bit crazy here. But you can see it starts to fray this ribbon all up. And I am going to go roughly about halfway or so here. Cut some of this off and move it out of the way. You can go all the way, but this way is going to make it a little bit easier to add it to your project if you only go about halfway and leave part of it together. So we're going to string this through here, maybe. And then we're going to tie it around here. I'm just going to tie a little knot. And then when I have this across here, I'm going to take this ribbon and where's my piece? My crazy part. Sorry. I cut off the big long thing and now I can't. I need to have a hold of that one that we were pulling. It should be this one. You can double check. There we go. So we're going to put this across here, leaving the part that is still not pulled. We want the pull string on this side though. And we're going to tie our ribbon so we can tie it to it. And I just found this was a little bit easier to keep all those little pieces together than trying to hold on to them and put them there afterwards. So I just only pulled it part way. And now that I have this, I can hold on to my bow and I can just pull the rest of this and finish making it go a little bit on the crazy side. If it's a little bit too long, we can go in there and trim it a little bit, give it a bit of a haircut. And trim those ends. All right. Device unexpectedly stopped. Are we there? Okay, hang on. Not sure what it's doing. Give me a second. Video. Sorry. Why are you not letting me choose my video? Okay, that's weird. Oh, there we go. Turn back on. Maybe. There we go. Maybe. Sorry about that. All right. So here's our finished part. Hopefully you saw how I did that. I'll double check the video after, and if it didn't work, I will re-show you how to do the little crazy ribbon there. Okay, but we're not quite done yet. If you remember at the beginning, I told you you needed a piece of tissue paper. So we're going to set our little box aside because honestly, to me, this is part of what just makes this box super, super cute. And I'm going to try and straighten this out the best that I can. Sorry, it was a used piece that I had. If your piece is not crumpled up, it's a little bit easier. You'll crumple it up eventually, but this will work in the meantime. So we're going to grab our spider web. We're going to start with our biggest one. And we're kind of basically going to make some designer series paper on tissue paper here. So we're just going to ink up our spider web. And we're going to stamp it. And this does not need to be anywhere near perfect. If you screw it up, it's okay because it's just tissue paper. And you could do it on colored tissue paper if you want. And if you don't want to stamp it, you don't have to. But personally, I love the look of having it stamped, and it personalizes it and just makes it really fun. Here, I'm going to add in couple more or one more. All right, so we got our giant spider webs, and then we're going to grab our granny apple green here, and I'm going to ink up my Halloween, and I'm just going to stamp it randomly. I think I need to add some ink to this one. And make sure when you're doing something, especially like this, and you're doing something with words, turn your stamp so it goes kind of every which direction, and don't be afraid to go off of the paper a little bit. And then we're going to add some of our smaller. So we have our pumpkin pie and our 31. That one didn't stamp very good. Let's see if we can line it back up. There we go. And you notice I'm stamping over the top, you know, just filling things in a little bit, but I don't really care. I'm just trying to get the color all around. And add one more there. And last but not least, because I wanted the spider and I already had the black web, I decided we're going to add a purple spider. I don't know if there's really purple spiders out there, but I think they're super cute. So we're just going to add some more of these. Where else do we need one? Maybe here. And a little bit more here. All right. So now we're going to finish it up by crumpling that up, and then we can uncrumple it. And I am going to wipe this because I know I will get ink all over things if I don't. Give me 1 second. I'm just having problems today. Nothing wants to work for me. That's okay. Hopefully you still like the project. Thank you, Margaret. I'm glad you like the box. All right, here we go. I gotta make sure that's dry or I'm gonna get this all wet. And I don't want my project wet. So now we're gonna take our little tissue paper and we're just gonna stick it in the top. So obviously we want to fill this box up with something, but see how much that adds that fun little tissue paper. And I didn't finish the tissue paper on all of my boxes, but you can kind of see how they look. Oh, I forgot the one other thing. Like I said, this is more of an optional, but I did like these. And so I just added one of the little, if I can get one out, one of the little bats over on here. This one, and we have the little ghost on there. And then let's see, we have our little Dracula dude. And our little skeleton. You'll notice I did put the boo on this side on this one because I didn't want to cover up the little leaves, but you know, you can do either side, whatever you want. But how cute. Aren't those just so fun? I just love how this turned out. Be watching for my blog. I will put all the tutorial on there for you if you didn't catch all the measurements or want the printed one. You can write the measurements down, or you can go to the blog and get those. And thank you again for joining me. Check out this paper. I'm going to note one thing. You'll notice the top of this has a little bit of a little jag. I used the Stampin', the borders, this little one here, to create that with some of the extra paper. And that's just because I wanted a little bit of differentiation between there. You could also use a different color for the handle on that one if you didn't want to add that. These ones all had kind of something at the top, and this one didn't, and I didn't like it. So I added that onto it. You could add orange, whatever. And again, you could do a different background for any of them and mix and match, whatever. But so super fun. Oh, thank you. Yes, I love adding the tissue paper. It just makes it so cute. It's, I don't know, it just adds a lot to me, and I love the tissue paper. And it makes it look like a little gift box that you would, you know, give to someone. And it's plenty big enough that you can put all kinds of fun little Halloween treats in there. So if you have special someone or grandkids or kids that you wanted to do a fun little Halloween treat, this would be perfect, or coworkers or something. Somebody that you're not going to be making like 100 of them, but you could make 100 of them. They're not that hard to make. They're pretty easy. They go together really quick. So thank you again for joining me. I hope you enjoyed that. Again, I'm sorry for all the technical difficulties. I don't know why my phone was not liking me today, but watch for that on my blog. It should be up this week sometime, and I will be back next week. It's the fifth Monday in the month, and I have something different I'm hoping to try to share with you. So we'll see how that works out and go from there. And the following week will be my Make It With Me, and so I'll have a project that you can follow along. So thank you again. Remember, you can check out my blog, stampinwithcandice.com, or order online at candiceanderson.stampinup.net. And I hope you have a fantastic night. Bye-bye.